Hi, I'm Anisa Hassan, and welcome to my podcast, Diary of a Matchmaker, where I'll be shedding light on how to best navigate the dating world, avoid pitfalls, and create a love story that really matters to you. In this episode, I have been asked many times, Anisa, in your last 20 years, have you had any strange requests? Do you have clients that you just didn't know how to serve? And my answer is a resounding yes. So many times, right? People come to me thinking that they can just pay me money and I will just, give them what they want, like your wish is my command. So that's not how I work anyway. The first story that I recall was when I first started doing this matchmaking service, where I was confronted with a lady who was talked from head to toe in designer clothes and designer shoes, designer bags. And she was coming off with a very arrogant energy when she came to me. And the minute I sat down and introduced myself, she said, "Hey, Anisa, I don't care how much you charge, right? You just have to find me somebody who lives in District 9, 10, or 11, right? I'm a banker. I make 250,000 a year, and I don't want to be matched with people who cannot meet my minimum criteria of having lived in either District 9, 10, 11, or making more than 250,000. And then the icing on the cake was, she threw her credit card on the table, which dropped on the floor, right? And I didn't go out of my way to pick up that credit card. And I said, first thing, if you think that I'm SingPost, you are really wrong. I'm not a SingPost, and I don't match people according to postal districts. I match people based on many factors, not just where they live, right? And I tried to explain to her, matching people there's an art and there's a science. And the art is I have to ensure that the person that I'm taking on is also somebody that I find attractive and easygoing to match with people whom I have in my database. And with that kind of behavior, I was not prepared to take her on because it would be a big mess for me when I have to handle her in the 1 year period that she would be engaging me. So I told her, please pick up your credit card. This meeting is over, and good luck with your search. So she was shocked. Pretty much like the Pretty Woman story, right? Big mistake when Julia Roberts left the rodeo drive. So she left in a huff, but I thought taking her would be suicidal or be disastrous for me. But guess what? 10 years on, she showed up and in my office again, thinking that I wouldn't recognize her. But I knew from her mannerism that it was the same person, even though her looks were already different. But this time round, believe it or not, she asked for very reasonable attributes in a partner. She said that I'm looking for somebody who can be a leader to me. I'm looking for somebody who can make me laugh, a sense of humor. And I'm looking for somebody who is grounded and who has a kind heart. So this time round, those are reasonable qualities. I know I was going to be able to match her. But guess what? When she first appeared, she was 29. Now she's 39, So there are possibly slim pickings for her. And I also wanted to be sure that there was nothing else that she was asking for. And so the 10 years later, I took her on, and it was quite easy for me to handle such a request because those are reasonable requests. But the first time round, I knew that she was not prepared to listen to what I have to say as a matchmaker. And as such, we parted ways in that manner. Other requests, recently, I can share with you. So there was a widower. He is 58 years old, and he has not dated since his late wife passed away about 10 years ago. So he was very concerned. He said, I'm 58. Do you think there's ever going to be anybody who's going to say yes to me? And I said, look, we are all ageless. When you sit down across somebody, do you really know how old they are? You don't, right? So don't worry about your age, and allow me to handhold you and take you on this journey without feeling worried, fearful, or doubtful about your ability. But when I wanted to get him started, he said, hey, look, there's this particular celebrity whom I really fancied. And so I said, hey, hang on a minute. At first you said you don't know whether anybody was going to accept you because you're 58 years old. And now when I want to get you started, you want me to start you off with a celebrity? Are you serious about this request? And then he said, I've been following this person on social media, and she proved to be very godly. She believes in God. She has faith. And I said, there's so many other people who has faith and who's also godly. Why this person in particular? And so he said that I just want to see if this is possible. And I just want to see how far this can go. And I said, okay. I understand your brief. You are not difficult for me to match. But what you're asking for, I hope, is not an infatuation, because an infatuation is just a certain craving, a certain addiction that you wanna feel the high, but you are not really feeling the love. But in any case, I will try my best to see whether this person would respond to you. So lo and behold, that I was a broadcast journalist in the past, right? So I have contacts in the right places. So happened that this celebrity engages this agency as an artist management company. And I happen to know the owner of the artist management company. And so I called her up and I said, hey, I understand that your client is single, and I have this client who is very excited to meet her as an individual and possibly consider as a life partner. Would she say yes? And this particular founder said, okay, I'll try to make this work, right? And 2 days later, this gentleman was already out on a date at Botanic Gardens, going for a walk with her. And it lasted for 1.5 hours. He was, of course, very, very excited that he got to go out with a celebrity, but the celebrity doesn't feel the same towards him, right? So I have already cautioned him, and I said, you must remember that for a relationship to work, she must choose you as much as you choose her, right? There isn't going to be any relationship that you can try to make things work when the other party doesn't reciprocate. Right? So he said, okay, I understand. So we established that it was just an infatuation. He got it out of the way. And I said, I do have somebody that I want to introduce you to, right? Why do you want me to start off with this celebrity? It was a very, very hard thing for me to do, but I did it anyway. And then I said, okay, now you have to trust me on this, right? I have somebody who's godly, who is of a certain good religious background. She's somebody that I know you would be able to appreciate because of her demeanor. And he said, okay. And just one date was all it took for him to say, you hit the mark. I have never been happier and more engaged in a conversation than this date that you set me up with. So this gentleman, who was a widow for more than 10 years, finally opened his heart. He came to our office recently and gifted us with, gifts to say thanks that he is now on track to establish a new relationship with a newfound partner through our agency. So those funny stories that I could recount. And of course, there's a lot more where I was flown to South Korea because there's this one gentleman who was also infatuated with a very high-profile individual who works for one of the top MNCs in South Korea, and all he wanted was to have lunch with her. And I said, you can have lunch with her, but don't expect her to say yes to you over lunch. And he said, it's worth a try. And he did. He flew me to South Korea. I managed to organize a date for them, but it was just a 1-hour date. And sometimes I feel that, when men are in that position of power where they have resources, sometimes it's just a matter of fulfilling their fantasies. But I always want to highlight that's not what I do. I don't fulfill fantasies. 99% of my work involves me looking at real attributes, real characteristics, right? Real personality that would make a relationship work. So I want to also, in the next segment, I want to share with you what are some of the advice that I want to give you when you are beginning that dating phase, right? What are the things that you need to look out for when you're beginning your dating journey? So stay tuned for that. So, welcome back. In this segment, I would be sharing with you what are some of the valuable advice that I would give singles when you are starting your dating journey, right? I first feel that, as always, you have to know your worth. What do you bring to the relationship that makes you irreplaceable? It's really, really important that you start with yourself and not with the other party, right? This is why having a self identity, having a self concept of who you are, what kind of energy do you bring to the relationship is going to be very, very key. I also feel that the more you understand yourself, the more you are making decisive decisions without outside influence, right? Because we are social creatures, right? And when we introduce our potential life partner to our parents or to our family and friends, chances are they have something to say, right? How come he is not a degree holder? How come she is only O-level holder? Those kind of questions, inconsequential questions, right? And then you feel that your back is against the wall. You have to start defending your partner, and sometimes you do not know how to defend your partner correctly, right? But if you are very sure that this is a partner that you have chosen, this is a partner that makes your heart sing, this is a partner that would support you through thick and thin, you are able to withstand criticisms, opinions of other people, and the interaction with your family and friends would not be dictated by them. You're very sure of yourself. So when you know your worth, when you know who you are not dictated by external validation. You're not looking for approval. You're not looking for validation from family and friends. In fact, you're able to explain away in a calm manner that this is the person that I have chosen, and I hope you will be happy for me, right? Otherwise, you're just going to be subjected to a lot of naysayers and criticisms from well-meaning friends and family members. And the next thing that I feel you have to know when it comes to dating is you cannot judge somebody without getting to know them. And what do I mean by that? You judge people based on their looks. You judge people based on their power, their position, their possession, and you start making excuses for their behavior because you see that they are living successfully or they are. On paper, they are very successful and you want to be part of them. And then you overlook the more important attributes like how do they behave when they are with you? How do they treat you? Do they treat people around them? How do they treat their family members, their parents in particular, right? You can't explain away somebody's behavior just because they have a certain reputation, they have a certain scholastic achievement, they have a certain power in opposition. So you shouldn't be blinded by how somebody makes you feel or how somebody makes other people feel in their presence, right? So it's important when you're dating that you are observing, right? You're not busy collecting red flags, You are busy focusing on whether this person is aligned with you, with your values, right? For a lot of people, faith is important for them, right? So somebody says, for instance, I'm citing a Muslim person. Oh, I know that he's not praying, but I know I can make him pray when he starts, when he marries me. And that's something that is so dangerous, because to think that you can change somebody after you marry them is the biggest erroneous mistake that you can ever make as an individual. Nobody changes unless they want to change, right? So know that you are not there to be a martyr. You can't change anybody, and neither should you be sacrificing for anybody without them reciprocating what you have done for them, right? Next, I need you to understand that you cannot rush the dating process. Okay, a lot of business owners like to do this. They say that, oh, can you put me on an accelerated program? Can you hasten this a little bit for me? I've got no time to really go out dating, right? So just choose for me, and then I'll be fine. I know what to do. And I said, nope. Everybody has to go through the dating process, right? Dating process means you cannot just jump into a relationship without knowing the person's background, without knowing the person's characteristic, without knowing how this person manages and overcomes conflicts, disagreements, difficult situations. And usually that can be easily seen after you have dated with this person around the 3rd to 4th month, right? That's when you cannot put on the mask anymore, right? There's only so much masking that you can do in the first 3 months, right? But after that, when you're really consistent with this person, you are able to see that they behave in a certain way during crisis situation, during conflicts, when things don't go their way. You get to see how they behave, how they show up, whether they pull away or they start blaming or they play the victim when things don't go their way, right? So there's no way you can rush getting to know somebody, right? Even if you don't want to meet them go out with them on a consistent basis, I think frequent contacts, either over Zoom or phone call, those are also clear indicators how somebody is showing up in your life. It's not just about going out on multiple dates and going on romantic getaways and doing stuff that makes you happy. Doing the happy stuff is so easy, right? It's doing the hard stuff that will guarantee whether that relationship that you have is sustainable for the long haul. So don't just look for the happy times. See how you overcome the hard times, and better, how you repair a situation when both parties disagree, right? How do you come back together to repair the relationship, rather than saying, oh, this is so hard, I'm done with this person, on to the next one, right? So that means you don't have staying power, right? Or it also shows that you don't have any conflict resolution skills, which are needed, which are essential in every relationship that nobody talks about, right? Because everybody's just looking for the good stuff, right? When I'm in a relationship, I know what to do. Nope, you don't know what to do, because every situation is unique. You have to learn about how you handle disagreements, how you handle conflicts. And when people don't agree with you, how do you handle all of that, right? Because chances are the person who's going to trigger you the most is going to be your partner. Okay? And finally, I want you to understand this. Invest only in someone who invests in you. What do I mean by that? I have countless examples of women overextending themselves, right? Going over to the man's house, cooking for them, cleaning for them, doing their laundry, and ordering food for them. And I said, do you want a partner or do you want a baby? Right? All the things that you're doing indicate that he is so helpless. Why can't he do it for himself? You're overextending. And the guy is just happy, staying at home, playing on his game and not doing anything, right? And then you said, when is he going to propose? I said, he's not going to propose. He's having such a comfortable life with you doing everything for him, right? So why are you investing in this relationship this way? Oh, that's how I show love. Okay, then you need to know each other's love language, right? There are 5 love languages that you need to learn, that includes physical touch and affection, quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, and receiving gifts, right? So when you are very, very good at understanding what is your partner's love language, then you would give him more of what he wants rather than what you think he wants, right? Because you want a partner, you don't want a baby to nurture, right? So stop mothering him, stop investing in a relationship that's one-sided, even though you feel he's the one for you. But if he is not giving you time, attention, and not putting in any effort, that so-called relationship is bound to fail. All right. So I hope those advice and guidance is something that you would heed because those are essential qualities. Those are essential attributes that you must internalize in order for you to start building a healthy and successful relationship. That's all the time that we have for now. I hope those advice and guidance have been valuable to you, and watch out for my next episode.